Hey, y'all.
Hello, Adam. Where's Vanessa?
Well, since me and her are doing a segment on Roll for the Galaxy Rivalry, her agent says that she's not compensated for more airtime than that, so...
All right, fine. Go ahead.
Well, today on the show, we're going to cover Crisis, Call to Adventure, the Istanbul Switch App, and Camel Up, as well as the aforementioned segment on Roll for the Galaxy.
I specifically said no banana moon pies. Get my agent on the line.
Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Rolling Dice and Taking Names Board Game Podcast, Best Background Noise. The name of this episode is Control the Storm. My name is Marty.
And this is Tony, and that was episode number 167.
What did I say?
You didn't?
Really?
Do you want to try again like we did in the last episode?
No, I don't. In fact, before we move on, let's check out a couple things, Tony. All right, Tony, my recorder is now currently going.
Mine is too.
Okay, I have a good signal. How about you?
Good signal. My bar's going up and down, up and down. Up, down.
I have 15 hours of memory space left for recording. How about you?
I've got 22 hours, and I hope we don't need that tonight.
So basically, we're going to do this in one take this time as opposed to 3 last time.
We're going to give it a shot anyway. Who knows what else could happen? The internet could go out, or somebody could get interrupted, somebody be called. I don't know. A bookcase could drop on them like it almost happened to me tonight, but that's okay. We are ready to go.
Whoa, stop. A bookcase?
Yeah.
What do you mean a bookcase almost fell on you?
Well, I was cleaning out the garage, and I told Donna, I said, it's about time that this 23-year-old garage bookcase gets out of here. So I'm going to invest in the Algot system, ALGOT, from IKEA. So this past Saturday, Donna and I headed up to IKEA here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'm sorry.
Okay, a couple of things happened. First off, it was packed. So finding parking...
Okay. IKEA on a Saturday, everybody just assumes it was packed, but go ahead.
Well, I'm used to it not being as packed, but then again, so they changed the off-ramp going towards IKEA. Did you know that?
I did not. I think there's actually, get this, everybody, I think the boulevard that goes to IKEA has been renamed to IKEA Boulevard. Is that right?
That's right. And we used to, when you came off the ramp, and I'm sure in your city too, you have some of these where the off-ramp, because it's so popular, they would continue to go on the right lane, and the through traffic would go on the left lane. Okay, so you just keep flowing, right?
Yep.
They changed it. They got rid of that and put up a light. Oh, that was news to me. I didn't realize that because I'm fixing to go on flying down that road, and all of a sudden Don's like, you need to stop. I'm like, huh? She goes, look, there's a light. Look, people aren't moving. I'm like, man, what is going on here? But anyway, so I cleaned out the garage, and all of a sudden I put the bookcase out there, had it for a guy to pick up. It was free.
Wait a minute. You are jumping all over the place here. So I'm expecting this really good IKEA story, but that was it? You went to IKEA, it was crowded, and they changed the roads?
Yeah, well, I got the Algot. Oh, no, IKEA also changed the shelves. They used to have metal shelves, but I guess the steel industry is in such that steel is so expensive that they've now gone to pressboard shelves. They've degraded the quality.
Did you get any meatballs?
No.
Did you get any cinnamon buns?
Oh my gosh, that smell hit me and I didn't get any.
Dude, what a wasted IKEA trip.
No, I got what I needed. I did not need cinnamon buns. I'm already got a cinnamon roll belly. I don't need more.
Now, me thinking about the layout of IKEA, was the thing that you needed at the very end?
Well, I just jumped right straight to it.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, you can bypass all that. There's a way to do that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they forced you to go through that maze of a place to get to what you really needed.
No, you cut through the registry lines. You just go right through it. They don't care, because then you go get the buggy in the back and you get your stuff and load it in the buggy.
Okay, so for those who aren't from the South, a buggy
I knew this was coming.
is our term for a shopping cart. Okay.
Yes. So got that loaded up and got out of there. But anyway, so I'm outside, and the reason why I was late tonight to record is because I had the bookshelf that I'm getting rid of sitting in the driveway. And while I was out there, all of a sudden, I had it sitting there. I had it on moving dollies, and the guy who was coming to get it said he was on his way. Well, lo and behold, that was an hour later. But while I'm there, it was sitting on moving dollies, and there it was windy. And what happens when you have a big open wood piece and a big wind comes right up? It's acts like a sail, right?
Yeah. I would agree.
Okay. And the wind comes, it's on dollies, and it's not as sturdy as it should be if it were sitting on the ground. Anyway, the wind comes and starts knocking it over, and I, like a fool, tried to go grab it to keep it from falling over. I said, screw this. I'm getting rid of it anyway. Boom. So before he showed up, I had to hammer it back together.
So you gave the guy a damaged shelf?
It cost him nothing. It was free.
Okay.
It was a bookshelf. He can have it. I wanted it out.
He's going to be upset when he starts putting stuff on it, just starts falling apart.
But anyway, that's what happened to me tonight. That's why I was late recording. See, I have a reason for being late.
The GAMA show just ended last week. Did you happen to see anything that was announced that you're interested in? You know, on our last episode in 166, we had Justin and Rob on from Restoration Games, and they revealed their whole lineup. But the big thing was Unmatched, and it seemed to get a lot of buzz last week.
Well, to answer your question, no, I really didn't pay attention to the GAMA news. That's what you're for. I expected you to come on this show and say, hey, did you see this? Well, let me tell you about it.
Let's see. Well, there was one announcement I'm kind of giddy about, but you won't care.
Oh, let me guess. Let's see. Some video game.
No, not from GAMA.
Some Funko thing?
Nope.
Okay. I know it's the Gamers Association. Anyway, what is it you're giddy about?
Warcry from Games Workshop.
Oh, Warcry.
So I knew that would light you up because Warcry is what for us in our board gaming history.
It is like the fourth card game we tried that we really enjoyed. We loved the formations. We loved most of the art on those cards. It was one of those games where we were like, man, this is really good. Oh, look, it got discontinued.
Remember who made it?
Warcry was by Sabretooth, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Sabretooth Games. That's right. Yeah, that was one of our, actually, Tony, probably one of the first times we ever did anything in the Games Workshop universe. Mm-hmm. It was still new to us. And remember, there was a game store inside our local mall, and they had people playing Warhammer Fantasy there. And that was one of the first times I ever saw the Warhammer Fantasy miniatures there. And get this, I ran across this the other day because we're cleaning out the storage area. I have a Warcry t-shirt.
Where in the world did you get a Warcry t-shirt?
I don't know. I must have signed up for something or something like that and got a Warcry t-shirt. I thought that was pretty cool.
From GAMA, what caught my eye was some tweet from Rodney Smith. Check still in the mail, Rodney. About they lost his luggage. He had to take Chaz shopping at the local Plaids R Us. That's what caught my eye.
You mean just Walmart?
Yeah.
Let's can I go back to Warcry?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Just real quick. So one thing I'm excited about, I love Games Workshop games when they come out the little skirmish type games that are short. That's why I like Warhammer Underworld. So the tease with Warcry is that it's a skirmish type game, much like Kill Team is for 40K, but it's made by the same people who designed Kill Team and Underworlds, and that's really all we know about it. But I was excited about it because, again, if I'm going to play a miniatures game, it's going to be one of those things that it's probably going to take very little table space and very little time to play. Like, I actually haven't got a chance to play Underworlds in a while, but this is another one of those games that is short, and hopefully I can get to the table. So anyway, that's the one thing that caught my eye. Now, go back and talk about Unmatched. So they released a lot of the card art for that game. We talked about it when they were on the show about how amazing the card art was. Well, when I shared our episode on Twitter, a gentleman by the name of Oliver Barrett said, hey, thanks for the kind words. I'm glad you like the art. I'm the artist for the game. I thought, oh, cool. I'm talking with the actual artist on Twitter. This is really neat. So he works at Mondo, which is the company that they're going to be getting a lot of the IPs from. Mm-hmm. The artist has an artist page. So I went and checked it out. And come to find out, he does all this really cool art for Mondo's other products. Like they have a line of vinyl records that are video game soundtracks.
Oh, really?
And he did one, the album art for a game from Castlevania. I think it was Rondo for Blood. Anyway, it's one of the Castlevania games. And it just so happened that 3 days before that, we were at a vintage video game store near us, and my son Adam found that album and bought it. So son of a gun, that the album he bought wasn't drawn by the same artist who did the art for Unmatched. It was just really cool. Kind of all tied together.
Wow. The universe is a strange place, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to let all that just soak over me.
While it's soaking, since we're talking about Warhammer, since I'm just really enthralled with this universe, I got to play a beta of a new game that's coming out called Chaosbane. It's based in the Warhammer universe. It's a PC game, and they had open beta a couple weeks ago. And basically, if you like Diablo style games, hack and slash games, and you like the Warhammer universe, put those two together, and that's what you got with Chaosbane. It is a really, really cool hack and slash game where you pick one of 4 different classes that you're playing. I picked like a mage type guy, like a bright wizard type guy, and you get to go on all these quests. Again, it plays just like Diablo. You get random items. You've got your skill slots that you can activate as you get XP. You've got to manage your items because you only got so many places to carry them. You got a nice radio menu to control it like Diablo. I very much enjoyed it. So if you like Diablo style games, then I highly recommend checking. I say that way too much, I found out. I say highly recommend way too much. I think people, if they're interested in a Diablo-style Warhammer game, should go look at Chaosbane. And again, it's in beta, but it's going to be coming out soon. I'm going to get a lot of hours in that game.
And what system is that on?
It's on the PC.
It's on the PC.
I know it's not on the Switch yet.
Yeah,
but
it's not on the Switch yet. Yeah.
But if it was, you could play now.
Yeah. So you told me to go buy a Switch. You said, go buy a Switch. You won't regret it. There's no way you can regret it. And everybody's sitting there saying that as well. That's on the Twitter and Instagram and whatever.
Our Slack channel.
You're going to love it. And I'm like, okay, fine. And here you are announcing, here's this incredible game that plays like Diablo, one of my favorite games of all time. And it's not on the Switch. But I can go buy Diablo for the Switch.
Which I highly recommend. See, I say it too much. If you hadn't got Diablo for the Switch and you like Diablo, that was the first game I got. You are going to love it, and then you and I can sit there and play together.
Can we? Because first off, I tweet out. I'm finally using Twitter occasionally. It's up there with Instagram once in a week. So I tweet out my Target bag. You knew what was in that bag, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
I thought you did, but you weren't wrong. You're right. I almost turned around right there in the parking lot and walked right back with my paralysis of buying anything, my buyer's remorse. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to take this thing back. Why do I have this? I don't need this.
How many days did you have it before you actually opened the box?
3.
Oh my gosh.
None of that was staged.
Unbelievable, man. It's like if I'd gotten a Switch, I'm like, as soon as I get home, I'm ripping open and I'm playing, and it sits there for 3 days before you even take it out of the box.
Well, the first day my mother-in-law was in town, so that would have been rude. Okay. And then the second day, I forget what kept me from doing it. The third day, I finally took it out and began the setup process of the thing. And I'm still thinking it's not too late. And then Nintendo goes, oh, by the way, Mario 10 Day is around the corner. Buy a Switch and get a game for this amount off. I'm like, son of a gun. So I just bought Mario Kart, and I got the Switch with the $35 e-coupon, the last one in the store, by the way.
Nice. Good job.
Thank you. And I'm like, this stinks. So, of course, I'm upset about that because I could have saved even more money. But you know what Target did?
What did Target do?
Since I had not opened the game, they were willing to have me give it back to them, and they resold it to me for the price.
Oh, for the sale price.
For the sale price. That's right. So I got Mario Kart at the sale price.
You got a really good deal because you still got a $35 eShop credit, right?
I got the $35 eShop, plus I got $30 off of the Mario Kart.
You can't beat that. That $35 will go towards Diablo.
Well, now I got to buy a 128 gig micro SD card, according to you.
Yes, you do. Because you're like, 32 gig? That's more than enough. I went, nope. You download, like you said you tried Warframe. You saw that was like 13 or 14 gigs, right?
No, I did not. I didn't take a look. It took forever.
Yeah, so that's the bad thing about the Switch is you got to buy an external SD card pretty quick.
Yeah, I'll probably end up deleting Warframe too. It was free, so it's not like it's hurting me.
Oh, all right. So anyway, good. So that's exciting because there's a lot of board games coming out on the Switch. I know that Istanbul is coming really soon to the Switch, so I can't wait to try that. You played Istanbul, right?
Yes, and the dice game, which we enjoyed.
We did. So it'd be cool to check it out on the Switch.
That's right. Now, so we had Mario 10. So we're in March. So, of course, we've got March Madness right around the corner.
Yes, we do. In fact, when this episode is released, we'll already into March Madness.
All right, which our team, of course, did not make it in North Carolina State. They went.
I don't want to go into it because going into it, everybody said, oh, yeah, North Carolina State's no longer in the bubble. They're in. Nope, we're playing in the NIT. And not even as a 1 seed, but I'm not bitter. Okay, I am bitter.
I'm not. I think it's good for them. I think it brings out, that should show them and teach them how to be a better team next year. So I think that's an important thing. But so I was watching a lot of basketball. When did basketball flopping become a thing?
Oh my gosh, dude. Isn't it horrible? It's like soccer now.
Oh, I wasn't going to go there, but you went there so you can get the hate mail. It is.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. For any soccer or football fan out there outside the U.S., flopping is a thing. You can't deny it.
No.
I watch videos, Tony, on YouTube of like the best flops in soccer. Oh my gosh, they are so funny. One of the best ones I've ever seen where two guys are like going towards each other. Neither of them touch each other and they both flop on the ground. Oh, it's so fun. But yes, you're right. Somehow basketball has the exact same issue. And you probably grew up playing organized basketball like I did. They didn't teach that crap.
No, they didn't. Matter of fact, if you're going to hit the ground, you're going to hit the ground for a reason. Is how I was the enforcer growing up.
I'm sure you were.
And I was the guy, if you came at the basket, you're going to pay for it. You may make it, but you're going to pay for it. But I was going to go for the ball. It wasn't any of this well, okay, I would have been flagranted a lot growing up, but that's okay.
Well, that's a new rule too. So.
Yeah, but I was watching that and I'm like, really? He's getting a foul call for that? Oh my, these are touch fouls. If that was on the playground, that stuff wouldn't go. There'd be a fight.
No. And some of them are not even real fouls. I mean, no, I agree. It's like you get touched on the hand or something, all of a sudden they're on their back, and the ref's going to call it. Well, that's why they do it, right? Because the ref's going to call it every single time if somebody's on their back. Oh, something must have happened.
I mean, I think back at when we were at State and Chris Corciani was the point guard. He would stop in the middle of the court, and the centers would run him over. I mean, he would literally get run over. He would be an expert at this flopping and this. He would lead the league in getting fouls called for him. Because, he'd be like, oh, this is a thing?
They teach that stuff now. It's fun. You don't see it as much in the NBA, but yeah, college basketball, it's crazy.
I was just like, that's unreal. All right, enough of the sports ball talk. We got to play a little Kickstarter that Nate Bivens, who, by the way, was co-designer behind Silver River, who, Marty, it's doing pretty good on Kickstarter right now.
Yes, it is. It's like, it was, as of today, it's like number 2 on the hotness. So congratulations to Nate. That's awesome.
But he brought a little game to the game store the other day called Village Pillage. What kind of mechanic would you call that? Where you are, the whole design behind the game is that you're trying to collect, I call them beets. Some people were calling them turnips. They were purple, so they're beets to me. Well, you got to collect turnips, then you'd sell them and get relics. Okay, it's pasted on theme, plain and simple.
Yeah, I don't know how beets turn into relics, but yes, that's what you had to do. And there was a different cost. Like the first one cost like 8, the next one was 9, next one was 10. They kept going up in value. And everybody had the exact same hand of cards to start out with. And it's one of these mechanics where I like where you play a card to your left and a card to your right. And it affects that person on the left and right. And likewise, they're playing one back at you. But you have different effects. Like there's one that's an attack where you steal things. There's like a defend card where if you play it at the right time, you keep them from stealing anything. But there was like a merchant card or something where it allows you to buy a card, an additional card from the middle. It's like a little slight deck building game, or buy one of the relics. And the last one was, it was just like a farmer, just like get some beets. It's time to grow some beets.
That's right. And so based on, and I mean, it's real simple. It's colors and symbols that you can help. So if my farmer is going up against your raider, you're probably going to be successful.
Yep.
The attacker,
Yep.
You're going to be successful. Where if your raider is going up against my wall or my moat, then obviously I'm going to reap the benefits from that. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed playing that, and I gave Nate a hard time because I mentioned to him, I said, this is just dumb luck. Just whatever cards you play. Don't say that to a designer.
No, because you said like rock, paper, scissors. Like, it's not rock, paper, scissors. Maybe rock, paper, scissors, Spock, whatever the whole thing is from
Lizard.
Yeah, from Big Bang Theory.
I mean, I enjoyed playing it. I like that concept. But one of the things I was, when talking with Nate about it, is that merchant. The only way to stop the merchant, because whenever he's played, he's going to succeed at what he needs to do.
But you better steal.
Yeah. So you better have to steal his beats, or he's going to, manage it. So I got real lucky. I just happened to score a ton of beats, so he and Mark could not take me out. And that was fine. And I enjoyed that. I mean, it was a cute, fast filler game. I enjoyed playing that.
I did too. And we didn't mention that after you play the card, they're not gone. Every card goes back to your hand. Mm-hmm. And even after you buy a card, it just increases the number of cards you have in your hand to consider, to play. And the stuff in the middle that you buy from the market is just more powerful versions of the starter cards that you got.
Right. And Nate's like, well, we can negotiate. We good? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, we good. Yeah. Right. Negotiation.
Well, Nate and I were nice to each other. We negotiated. You good? I'm good. And because he and Nate brought it up right. It's like almost like a prisoner's dilemma.
Well, yeah. What does that mean?
You don't know the whole thing with the prisoner's dilemma, where two people are given a choice to where if you choose this particular choice, it's really good for you. If they pick a different choice, but if you both pick the same choice, you each get a little bit of a benefit. But if you both try to screw each other out, you're both hurt.
I've never heard of it. I know what Schrodinger's cat, you mentioned Big Bang Theory, but not that.
So the prisoner's dilemma is like, you got two suspects for something. And it's like, are you going to rat me out? All right, Tony, you're in the witness room and that other person's in the witness room. And it's like, Tony's got something, you're going to rat him out. And I know if I say, yes, I'm going to rat him out, and you say, yes, you're going to rat me out, we both rat each other out. Mm-hmm. But what happens if we both say, no, we're keeping my mouth shut? So both of us keep our mouth shut, which might not be good in the long run, but at least we didn't rat each other out. Or it's going to be like, I'm going to rat you out, Tony, and then you're going to go, well, I'm just not going to say anything. Then you're the one that gets taken out, and I'm set free. That's the prisoner's dilemma.
Well, thank you I learned something from our podcast tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so yeah, you're right. We're in the prisoner's dilemma thing. I'm just playing cards, but you're right. Cause I was sitting there and I was able to play 2 cards on them, which scored me a ton of beats because I had been playing nice the whole night and I switched it up. That was fun. I enjoyed that. That was a good way to end the night after we played some other games, some, a little bit heavier games, but all in all, that was a fun game.
Yeah. Well, speaking of those games, you want to go talking about it for a few minutes? Maybe like, I don't know, 5? If you're looking for great organizers, you need to go check out Broken Token over at thebrokentoken.com, as each and every week they're putting out brand new things. And one of the latest things they put out is an organizer they call the Magical Mouse. Tony, do you have any clue what this might be an organizer for?
I do. That's for Mice and Mystics, which I have sitting on my shelf that you've yet to play with me.
Is it good?
Once again, it's one of those games that's on the shelf of shame that I tried to play it. I got it so long ago that it was before everybody else was jumping on the board gaming wagon at the house. And I said, I've got to get this game. But now with that beautiful organizer, it will make it that much easier to actually possibly get it out. I pull out that organizer, I pull out that board, and there's the organizer, Mice and Mystics organizer.
And they actually have an organizer for the expansion where it all fits together in one box, because those guys over at the Broken Token know how to do some mechanical engineering to get everything to fit well into the same box. So if you're interested in the Magical Mouse organizer or any other organizer from the Broken Token, go check out their site at thebrokentoken.com.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
So we got a game in from Ludi Creations called Crisis. Now, this game came out in 2016, and it is designed by, and I'm going to apologize up front because, Lord, I'm going to try to get close. I'm going to do my best, and I am sorry. Pantelis Babalis and Sartorius Centilis. In this game, you're trying to get the most victory points, aren't you, Marty?
Yeah, you are. This game is actually was on Kickstarter, and it came out just recently coming out to retail. Even though it's been designed for a while, it's been kind of moved around to different places. And Tony, I first got to play this game last year at Origins. Rodney Smith from Watch It Played taught it, and I absolutely loved it because number one, it's a worker placement game.
Yes, it is.
It is an engine building game.
Oh yeah.
Put those two together, and it's something I'm going to be interested in, which is why when we got a copy, I couldn't wait to show you because I thought you might be interested in it too.
One of the neatest mechanics at all, Marty, is that you have this series of time where you have to keep the economy growing in Axios, I believe, is it? Axia?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Axia. And if you don't meet those goals, if all the players don't meet those goals, that's a bad thing. Game in.
It's like on the victory point tracker, it says by the end of this round, this game is played over a course of several rounds, and at the end of the round, you need to be above that mark on the victory point. And if you don't, what you do is you sum those above, sum those below, and there's an economy tracker that will move up or down based on how well you do. And if people don't meet those goals, those victory point goals at the end of each round, the economy starts tanking. And Tony, if the economy tanks, the game just immediately stops. So you might not even totally finish the game.
Right. And that's very important. So that's part of your engine building. You got to make sure you're moving those victory points up. And you got to work together. It's not like your common worker placement where you are out to get one another. You actually do need to work together to try to keep everybody in line. That is an interesting way to catch or keep a leader mechanic or a catch up with the leader type mechanic. Really enjoyed this. And from the worker placement, I mean, you're building factories, taking resources, gathering those up, and then converting them out into whatever you need. You need more victory points or electricity or iron or whatever, but then you can also buy and sell.
Now, one thing I really like about this, and one thing I like about the game Champions of Midgard, is unlike a lot of our worker placement games, when you place a worker, in a lot of other games, you place the worker, you immediately take the action. Not so in this case. You got a certain number of workers, and everybody's going to take turn placing all those workers on the board, and then you're going to resolve all those workers in the same pattern each time. You're going to start at the top of the board and work your way down through each different action. So at the early on in the game, the action could be just to get some money so that you can hire workers, so that you can buy a building card, so that you can then buy resources to run those buildings and assign those workers to, then run those buildings, which generates an output, which might produce goods that at the very end of the worker placement phase, you can sell those goods for victory points. I just love that sort of system where you've got to be careful when placing your workers, because you got to think, all right, if I place a worker here, then that's going to give me enough money that I can use that money to buy this building, which is good. And now that I have this building in place, do I have electricity to run it? No, I don't. So I need to make sure to have a worker there so I can buy electricity to apply it to this building, because lots of times I end up screwing myself because it's like, oops, I didn't have enough stuff to run that building.
I think for me, I enjoy playing this game. The end with the tanking of the economy was very different. I wasn't prepared for that. So I think, the more plays I get in with this game, the more I'm going to understand that you've got to look at those victory points, and certain types of building are a necessity, and you better work together or you're going to be in trouble. Now, probably the biggest negative, I think, Marty, for me was at first it was trying to get your own economy up. I kept worrying about that and I overstressed that. And I think that's what hurt me at the beginning. That to me, I felt sometimes that there was too much stress in that. But for me, I enjoyed the game.
And for me, probably the biggest negative was, and this happened in a couple of different games I played, people who knew how what they were doing and how they were playing. Like when I taught you guys, I'd played the game lots of times before, and I kind of knew what was going to be going on. What happens is if the economy tanks and the game ends, if whoever is above that victory point marker that's moving each round, they're the only ones that can possibly win the game. So I didn't care if I helped you guys or not, because I was the only one above it. So I knew, I don't care. I let the economy tank and I win, which kind of stinks. because that's one of those cases where everybody didn't work together, and then I benefited from not working together. But I think it's one of those things that the more you play, the less chance that's going to happen. This game has multiple difficulties. If you don't want the economy to tank that easily, you can play on the easier version or all the way up to hard. Like I said, this is one of those games that has worker placement, a lot of things I like in it. I love the resolving each worker at a time. If you haven't had a chance to check out Crisis, you can always go check out Rodney's how to play video so you can see how it works, and it should be out now in stores. Crisis from Moody Creations.
5-minute initiative is complete.
So for not the first time, but maybe the 5th time or 7th time, we're going to talk about an app here on Rolling Dice and Taking Names in a new segment called It's Virtual. Okay, Marty, you didn't like that one, did you?
No, I didn't. You got any more?
Well, absolutely. It's going to be called Absolutely Nutty. App.
Oh, you mean like apps?
Yeah.
Got any more?
No, we're going to keep trying.
Okay.
I'm going to come up with a name.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, we got in a nutshell. I got to come up with something. I mean, we just can't say, yeah, we're going to talk about an app.
But that's exactly what we're going to do.
I know, but people need to know that we're fixing to go into it, and then you put this cute bumper music in it, and then we're ready to go. But the app we're going to talk about is out on all the platforms, if I'm not mistaken.
That would be Android, iOS, and Steam. Yes.
And
coming out the version that we play, because Tony just got a Switch, as we mentioned earlier, Istanbul, the digital edition, and the version we're going to be covering, Tony, is the one on the Switch, which will be released on March 28th.
Right, and that is by, what is the company that is producing this? So people can do this quick lookup thingy.
This is by Acram Digital, ACRAM, and they were kind enough to send each of us a code so we can try it out early. I've been playing solo games. You and I finished some online games, and we just want to share people, how well does this work on the Switch? Because Switch is only like 2 years old, and you're starting to see digital games come out on this console. I mean, earlier at the end of last year, Asmodee Digital announced they're converting some of their apps over here. There's a lot of people with these devices, and now people are like, all right, we can make some money off these things if we just port our games over to them.
Yeah, I mean, I was on Twitter, my weekly Twitter review. It's, hey, at least Instagram's more than that. And I noticed that even 425 Suzanne, she had a picture of Istanbul on her Switch while watching Spider-Verse. And I'm like, well, that's pretty sweet. And you're absolutely right. Thank you for making me purchase a Switch. I've been enjoying it, even though I only got 2 games so far.
Now, here's the thing, Tony, I haven't played Istanbul on the other versions. Have you played it on Steam or on the phone or anything, or iPad?
No, I haven't. I haven't bought it for that because, to be honest with you, I've spent a lot of time just with Ascension and Potion Explosion, so I was very happy to try it out on the Switch. No, I haven't. Matter of fact, it has been a long time since I actually physically played Istanbul, the board game. The last Istanbul we played was the dice game. So I was like, oh, this is going to hurt.
Well, that's actually a good place to start, because I'm in the same boat as you. I had not played Istanbul, 2 years, maybe 3 years. It's been a while since I've played it. And like last one I played was Istanbul, the dice game. Well, the first thing when you start this game up is there's a tutorial. Well, you have the option to play through the tutorial. It's like, oh, I definitely need the tutorial. And as you walk through the tutorial, it kind of gives you a heads up. It's like there's 22 steps to walk you through the tutorial. And I thought, well, that's kind of short. I hate to jump into like a little nitpick right off the beginning, but Tony, personally, I think for a guy who's only played Istanbul maybe once or twice and it's been years, I wish the tutorial would have had a little bit more meat to it.
And I agree with you, because I was like, okay, it's not gelling with me. Okay, well, fine. The tutorial's done. I mean, it's real simple. I mean, I move my little guy, place my little guy, and I try to get rubies. I was like, okay, I think it, but I'm missing something here. It didn't click with me. And then, so I then jumped into, this is, do you want to play a game?
Shall we play a game?
Exactly. And I was like, all right, this isn't. Let's go over to Board Game Geek and watch a video on how to play the board game.
Dude, I did the same thing. So I jumped into a game and I realized kind of what was missing from the tutorial is explaining really what each of the tiles do. And yes, in the game, you can actually go to a tile and click on the info of that tile and read what it does. And I just kept constantly doing that. It's like, you know what? There's only a set number of tiles in this game. There's only 16 tiles. Let me just go watch a quick review to teach me how to redo some of these tiles. After I did that, I came back in the game and then it just clicked for me.
Literally, clicked or touchpad or what. Now that is one thing I enjoy in the game. For, on the phone, if it's on a small screen like that, sometimes my big old sausage finger can't get to the right screen. But for the Switch, I really liked how I was able to zoom in and zoom out on the board now. And I really like how on some of the controls, if you try to hit a button, it shows you which buttons to press. Did you notice that? Like press A for this or B for that. It would highlight them. They weren't always there. I said, oh, that's pretty neat. So overall, the graphic interface and the GUI I thought was very well done. It was very bright. I will admit now some of the fonts, the readers were out. I had to get the readers out.
That's just because we're at that point where we have to put them on. With just regular old Vision, once you put those on, everything looks crisp and clear. Some of the user interface I kind of had to get used to, especially when it came to when you drew cards and could see what the cards do and then discard cards. That took me a little while to figure out how to select the card I want to discard and then go down to the bottom and discard it. For some reason, that was just had a little mental block there. But one thing I like, Tony, and you probably noticed this too, when you had cards in your hand and on your turn, you could play a card anytime you want. Did you notice at the bottom it said, hey, if you use the right arrow, you use this card. Use this down arrow, you use this card. So it kind of gave you a heads up of what cards you had without actually pulling the cards up.
No, I didn't. And that was the other thing. Okay, so I didn't notice that, which is probably why you beat me so bad constantly, is because I didn't use my cards. But I did like how when it wasn't my turn, and I'll get to my biggest pro, is the fact that I can look at my bonus cards. So while I'm waiting on my turn, I can look at the bonus cards to remind me. It's not like your turn's done, you don't get to do anything. I was able to scan the board, look at the cards. I was able to plot some strategy. And I appreciate that. But my biggest pro, and for all apps for me, when I do online play, if you do not have asynchronous play, you're dead to me.
Amen. Amen. I 100% agree. And when I asked them, when they said they was going to send us a key, I asked, first question, asynchronous play? And they were like, oh yeah. Asynchronous play. I was like, all right, we're in. Because that's the way I play too, Tony. And when you set up the game, you have a choice of asynchronous or synchronous. And so I thought asynchronous, I sent you an invite to play. You jumped in. And unfortunately, with the phone, you could probably have it set up to send you a notification when it's your turn to move. Mm-hmm. With the Switch, it's not that way. So lots of times we would text each other and go, by the way, it's your turn.
Right. Asynchronous, thank you so much for putting that in there. When you set up the game, you mentioned that you didn't have a way to set a time, so I'm not sure when I would have timed out. If there was, like I know in Ascension, I can set 28 days, 14 days, 7 days, so many hours. But on Istanbul, you said you didn't have that capability, right?
No, we did not.
Okay. So, so I wonder when you're going to time out. I know you do time out because during the game, it says when someone times out, the AI will take over. Another brilliant thing to have in there.
And nice thing too is, Tony, with asynchronous and asynchronous play, this is cross-platform. If you have a friend that plays on Steam or on the phone, you can play with them on the Switch.
Oh, nice. I did not realize that. That's kind of nice. Now, this did happen, and it happened to you, and it happened to me. I finished my turn, and I put it down. Marty, your turn. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. I'm done. I kept forgetting to hit turn done.
Well, but what's cool about that, you can back up, you can undo your turn easily.
Yeah, I know. I should have done that like at the start of the game.
Yeah, because lots of times I would actually pick the wrong thing, or it's like, oh, I didn't mean to grab that resource, so you can undo it. So it's not like it's locked in when you do something. You can fix the oopsies, and then when you're done with your turn, hit like the right trigger to say, okay, end of turn. Now this does have, if you just want to play by yourself, it has 3 levels of AI. When you play with other people, you can put AI in other positions. So you and I played a 2-player game, but we easily could have put an AI player in and had different levels of difficulty. There's a colorblind mode, which is nice because this is a very colorful board, but you can switch that so that you can make sure you can easily see everything clearly. It's got pass and play, so you don't have to play online. We can just sit here on the couch and take one switch and pass it back and forth. Tony, I think this was a good implementation of the game on the Switch. And I know people are like, but why you got an iPad, why play on the Switch? My mind is weird in that I'm not going to carry around an iPad all the time, but now my Switch is my gaming console, so I'll carry it around and put it in my book bag, and I want to pull it out and I want to play a game. Well, I may want to play a board game on it. I'm just wired differently, I guess.
And for me, I mean, I think as I get into the Switch, I will probably add games that maybe like Donna doesn't want to play, because my iPad is the application where she and I share. We're playing Potion Explosion and some patchwork and things like that. It's whatever console works for you, but I agree with you. Carrying my iPad around versus having my Switch in my computer bag is so much easier. And so I'm with you. I'm probably going to start switching over to the Switch and go with that. So also, other than the iPad, screen size is a big thing. On my phone, it's not that game would not work for me. And I was like, okay, let's keep moving up the iPad. It would definitely work. And then of course, but then I can't plug the iPad into the TV. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I don't. But the Switch, I can easily get it onto the TV. So it makes it, even if Don and I are just happen sitting there on the couch and we would want to do that, because some no-name teams are playing in the NCAA right now.
Yep.
Because my team made it to the NIT. That's fine. we can play it on the TV. That's one of the nice things about the Switch.
And one other thing about this app, it does have you different. With the original game, you can set up the tiles different ways. They offer you that same option in here. You can do short pass, long pass, put the tiles in order, or do in random. So there's multiple setups for the game. So everything you can do in the board game, you can do in this one. Now, I think one of the big things, Tony, is going to be the price. When you look at the cost of the apps on the phones, it's around $7 for Android and iOS. It's $10 for Steam. But it is going to come out for $19.99 on the Switch. Now, I don't know why. I did not ask them why it was so much more expensive, but maybe it costs more to put a game on the Switch. I'm not sure. So that may sway you which way you want to go, but we're just looking at the Switch version, Tony. I will say I think they did a fantastic job for putting a board game on the Switch. It looks exactly like the board game, but there's enough to it where it's not like a carbon copy, where they add enough of the graphical stuff where it still feels like a video game, but doesn't totally pull you out of the fact that it still is a board game.
Yeah, and I mean, the difference in price, I mean, I'm sure it's economics based on how many people do you think, is it a loss to put it on the phone for $7, but think how many people have that phone.
But remember, that doesn't matter because it's cross-platform.
I agree with you, but why would you reduce the cost? I mean, for me, versus having readers with me constantly, I'll definitely on my phone, I'd have to have it, the cost of the eyeglasses. I can understand that. Yes, I enjoyed it. I can't wait to play you again. I will say, do not start a game with 2 players to get with me again. That just wasn't as much fun as I thought it would be. I think we need more players.
All right. Well, I actually have invited you to a game, so I'll cancel it and add in an AI person to play along with us. How does that sound?
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
All right. So that is Istanbul from developer Arkham Digital, out March 27th, 1999 on the Switch. If you get it, let us know, and you can come in and play a game with Tony. And Tony, this was our inaugural episode of Lord. Are you actually going to say absolutely nutty?
I was getting ready to say it, but you did, so thank you.
Five-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
Well, we have a special guest joining me for this 5-minute initiative of Camel Up, designed by Stefan Bogan, produced by Eggert Spiel. Now, Camel Up, this is its second rendition, and we've played the first rendition. But joining me is my daughter, Rebecca. Hey.
Hello.
And she has doing this because she has to pay for her dinner tonight. Mm-hmm. And overall, Camel Up, for those of you who've never played it, it's a very simple betting game. Person with the most coins wins, or victory points. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay, you got to be a little bit more interactive, but that's all right. I can handle this.
You asked if I agreed. I agreed.
Okay, very good. So in Camel Up, you take a basic 4 actions. The first action is you may take a betting card. Your second action can be having the pyramid poop out a dice.
Correct. Yep. You can shake it up and poop it out from the bottom.
Was that the funnest part of this game?
Yeah, and stacking the camels.
Stacking the camels, that's right. And so what happens is when the dice comes out, the camels move based on the color of the dice. And if the camel were to land on another one, then he moves along later. If that camel on the bottom moves, he takes the whole group with him. Mm-hmm. Also, you can take a betting card, place your bets on who you think is going to be the first winner. Obviously, it's the first winner.
Right, on that leg of the race.
Okay, yes, that's one part of it. Or you can place a card in the winner's track or the loser's track.
Right, but you said take a betting card.
That's true, I did. So you can do either one of those. See what Marty's got to deal with when he's dealing with me?
Yep, but I hear it all the time, even from being upstairs.
Wow. Just wow. Okay, so anyway, and another thing that you can do is you can place your spectator card, so when a camel lands on it, it goes forwards or possibly backward. They're either cheering for the camel or they're booing the camel.
Yes.
So overall, first thing I want to point out is this is the second edition. Component-wise, what did you think of that with the plastic pyramid?
I really liked it, and I liked the pop-up. It was really interactive and kind of cute.
The pop-up board. You open up the board and
yeah, and it pops up.
You got little oasis sitting there, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Now, we played with 8, which is unusual because that gave you a 5th action where you can share in the spoils of others, or as we called it, leeching.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just shake hands, declare diplomacy, and leech off of the other person.
That's right. So at the end, when there are 4 legs in the race, well, actually, the game runs until one camel crosses the finish line. And another change in the second edition is that there is a white and black camel that are running backwards. They're wrong way camels. And they will continue around counterclockwise, where the rest of the camels are going clockwise. So it's very important. That's all part of the game strategy in this. Now, 8 players. That was a lot of people. So you didn't get that opportunity to do certain things. And the camels, the leg could be over before you got another turn, right?
Correct. You normally got between 1 and 2 turns. Most of the time I only got 1.
And what did you think of that?
It was a little difficult just because there were multiple actions that I wanted to take, but you also had to strategize a lot better and kind of figure out what other people are going to do.
Now, do you remember, it's been a while since we played this game. Do you remember the old version? And when we first played it, we were like, eh.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
Right, but it didn't sit well with it. It's one of the games.
It was fun, but it wasn't something that I would play a lot.
Right. Now, what about this? Would you enjoy, if I were to say, hey, with 4 people, would you let me bring this out again?
I would, yeah. It would be something I would play with my friends, too. It would be kind of like a fun little thing that you could laugh at, but also it was a very strategy-oriented game.
Oh, okay, because your mother doesn't think so.
Yes, well, she didn't like it.
No, she didn't, did she?
No.
Unfortunately for her, in the 8-player game, she was constantly being the first player because that person would take, during the game, if they take the poop the dice out token, the last one, is to your right, then you're the first player. And in an 8-player, she only got to do 1 action, and it was not to her advantage to be the first player to go in an 8-player.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things were determined in the later round.
Correct. And she was the first player at least 2 to 3 times.
Right.
Out of the 4 times we
So
went
that was
around.
it was very disadvantaged to her because she couldn't say, well, I want to share spoils with that person because no one had done anything. She couldn't really take a betting token because it wasn't available to her. She didn't know who was going to win. I mean, I'll admit we were cheering at the end. We were cheering for the dice to come out of the pyramid.
We were all very excited.
So should Daddy keep this on the shelf?
For right now, yeah.
For right now until something better or until you get to play CO2 or some other game?
Yeah, cytosis. That's what I'm all about.
All right. Well, that's it. That was Rebecca reporting with her daddy on another 5-minute initiative.
Woohoo.
5-minute initiative is complete.
Are you ready for something new in your board gaming life?
Yes.
Are you tired of playing the same old thing?
No.
Well, if you had answered yes to this, is this like one of my flowcharts, Marty? Or you go yes, no kind of things for a board? Anyway, go over to miniaturemarket.com where they have all the newest and greatest games in their selection, as well as they, of course, got the drop going on. Got to pay attention to that. You never do know when a game's going to be sold out. But one of the neatest things, Marty, I'm going to give you a hint when you're at the miniaturemarket.com. In the search button, when you type a game, up comes the game, doesn't it? Amazing.
Yes.
Have you ever typed clearance?
No.
Try it. All the games that are on clearance will be in the search. Or, as they got going on right now, a big sale, maybe it'll still be going, big St. Patrick's Day sale. You type on space sale, and up comes all the games that are on sale. So you don't have to sit there and weed through all of that. You can just simply put that in the clearance. A lot of people probably already knew this. I did not. I was so happy when I did that, and lo and behold, there were all these games that I don't need to add to my collection, but I want to so bad. Be sure to check out miniaturemarket.com.
If you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that Tony and I are really big fans of Euro games with dice in it. For example, we loved Coimbra from last year and Lorenzo El Magnifico from the year before that. But one of the original Euro games with dice that we really enjoyed was Roll for the Galaxy from Rio Grande. We reviewed this game way back in June 2015, episode 68, and that happened to be one where my wife Vanessa and Tony's wife Donna reviewed this game, which is why we were excited to get the brand new expansion for Roll for the Galaxy called Rivalry, and I just had to bring Vanessa back on the show to talk about it because Vanessa, you love dice games that I've learned over the years.
I just love dice. I love rolling them. I love the different colors, and I just love dice. So I did. I fell in love with Roll for the Galaxy. And I love the little cup that looks like a spaceship, and you shake it, shake it, shake it, and make a lot of noise and annoy other people.
Well, we didn't want this to be just a two-player game, so we asked my son Adam to sit in with me, and Adam's been on the show before, so Adam's going to sit in with us and talk about this expansion. So, Adam, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
I think usually we have you on to talk about like RPGs and miniature games.
Also dice games, though.
Which dice games?
Those are dice games. RPGs and miniatures games. Like, fundamentally, they are dice games.
I stand corrected. See, Tony doesn't do this sort of stuff. He just rolls with the flow instead of coming back and correcting me. So I'm not...
Well, we rolled for the Galaxy with a couple of expansions.
So if you never played Roll for the Galaxy, it's kind of an engine building game where you're going to have different phases that take place each turn, but the phases are determined by dice that you roll. Everybody's going to have a set of dice they're going to roll with icons on them that represent one of 5 different phases. And you're going to secretly assign those dice to each of the phases based on whatever die phase comes up. And then you're going to pick one of those phases to activate. Everybody gets to activate one, then everybody shows which phases they're doing. The cool thing about it is if somebody else activated a phase that you had dice assigned to, you also get to do it. Now there's a lot more to this game, but obviously you can go back and listen to episode 68 if you want the in-depth review that Vanessa and Donna did so well.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I don't know if it was in depth.
4 years ago. Can you believe it's been 4 years since you did that thing?
I cannot believe it.
So let's talk about this expansion called Rivalry, because what Rivalry does is add
More dice.
and one additional phase.
And that phase is the deal phase.
Or the research phase. So the original 5 phases were explore, which allow you to get new tiles that you can develop and get credits. One was
Develop.
Doing this without looking at the rules.
Explore. Develop. It's a circle. Settle. Thank you, Adam.
Settle.
Explore, develop, settle, produce, and ship.
That's right. So develop, you sets up the development tiles, which are kind of like ongoing abilities. The settle is like putting planet tiles out there that you can produce on, which is the next phase. You can produce goods and then ship those goods for either victory points or credits. And the credits are used to get dice that you earn over the course of the game back into the cup, because you want as many dice to roll in the cup as you can, which I was really messing up on. But Adam, Vanessa rocked at that game because she knew how to get dice back in her cup.
She always rocks at this game.
She does. She dominates at this game.
I don't think she's ever had a bad Roll for the Galaxy go.
Here's my strategy. Okay. Yeah. I just roll to however to make money to get more dice in my cup. and just try to get one of every color because different colors are used for different things.
That's right. The different colors have different types of dice faces on them, different symbols on their faces, but also colors can represent the goods they're shipped. And when you have matching goods with matching ships, it gives you extra points.
Matching colors, matching ships, more victory points.
And it's all about the victory points is what Tony says.
Well, it is.
It is. So let's talk about the two brand new things that were added with Rivalry. Am I saying that right? Rivalry? Rivalry. I get the southern thing.
Brewery, rivalry.
Rivalry.
There's another one. There's another word like that.
What is it?
I don't remember.
Okay. So let's talk about the deal phase. These are a set of new dice that are introduced to the game. And these big chunky dice that at the beginning of each round, these dice are rolled. And they have there's a lot of different icons on there that represent deals that you can make during the course of the game. So if you assign dice to the deal phase, what that allows you to do is when you resolve that phase, you can take two of those dice and put them into the marketplace in order to create a deal, then assign one of your dice to that deal in order to take advantage of it. But this is what's cool. You've got two dice that represent deals. One of them is things that you give up. The other die is the things you'll get in return. So let's say you may have an excess of one particular type of die and you're looking for another type of resource or something. You may create a deal based on the die roll that says, well, I'm going to give up this die and get this back. But Vanessa, you may be the other way around. You may say, oh my goodness, that dice he's given up I really need, but I got excess of that other die. You can make the reverse of that deal. So you could give up the other thing that I'm gaining and gain the other thing that I'm getting. Did that make any sense at all?
Only because we played through it. I don't know if it made sense to anyone else, but because we worked through it, it did make sense.
So the whole concept is creating these deals that can give you maybe bonus points, bonus dice, and et cetera, in exchange for something else. And what happens is these deals, at the end of the phase, they can mature over the course of the phase, and eventually they'll just rotate out. But if there's a certain time where the number of dice assigned to each side of the deal are the same, then those deals are closed and each of you will get a reward determined of how mature that deal is. And typically it was credits, and credits are always good because we found out Vanessa knows how to get them to get dice back into the cup.
That's right. But I'm sorry, Marty. All I can hear right now is the theme music for Deal or No Deal and hearing Deal or No Deal. Boom.
Hold on. You mean this? So that is the deal part of...
Yeah, and then we'll open our suitcase and there's all the dice. From the base game.
And I could see Howie Mandel, like, Vanessa, open your case. And then there's a tense moment. It's like, and she peeks into the case and she's like, oh, you blew it. It's like, no, you didn't blow it.
All right, okay, we joke, but somewhere there's a game designer listening to this this is interesting.
No game designers listen to this show.
Yeah.
Before we move to the other expansion there, this does add new dice, Vanessa, like you said. And the new dice on here actually has two symbols on the faces. So the dice from the base game only had one face symbol on it, but some of these have two, which was a new mechanic to the game, because you can pick whichever phase you want to assign that to. And if it just so happens that phase was not activated that game, but the other one was, you get to freely move that die to the other phase.
Yeah. So even if you didn't ever make a deal or had the opportunity to use that deal phase, then that dice was used in the other. So it just added more dice into the cup.
And if that other phase wasn't activated, you just get to put that die and put it back in your cup. And that was funny at the beginning of the game because we had the citizenry, I can't even say it.
That's the other word, citizenry.
Citizenry and the cup. And we kept putting them in the wrong place. No, that goes in the cup. No, that goes in the citizenry. It was just a comedy of errors at that point, like this segment's going right now. All right, let's move on to the other expansion in this game. Now, this is the orb game. And this is where you're going to be doing research. This uses the exact same phase dice and everything, except the dice assigned in this particular, and the symbol is a $sign. So it depends on which game you play. It could be either for deals, it could be for research. What's cool about this is each of us get a big chunky yellow die with removable faces on the sides. And these sides... See, I don't even need to add sound effects. You're over there doing it. And these basic faces will give you things like, hey, this activates a research phase, which gives you a free upgrade or it gives you some credits. Everybody has a basic same die. But if you assign dice to the research phase and it's activated, what that allows you to do is remove one of the plastic faces from that yellow die and replace it with another face. And there are a lot of different faces that can be replaced. There are exactly 18 or 19 different faces that can be changed on that die. And what that allows you to do is create a unique die that you roll each turn.
And that alone was enough. There didn't even have to be a game to go with it. Just a bag of dice with removable faces and that you could just sit and click them in and out and in and out.
And there's even a little tool for removing the little die in there.
Yeah, so that really was very neat to be able to do that and basically customize it to how you want it.
Yeah, so if you were really big into settling or developing, you can actually add different die faces to that big yellow die that may reduce the cost of developing or reduce the cost of settling or give you some benefits when you explore. There were some immediate benefits for just immediately giving you credits.
In a lot of ways, it kind of fixed the issues I had with the game, the base game, the most, because I felt like it was always kind of hard to get dice to do what you want to do, because they have like different count of what's on their sides. Like some die do more development, some die have more settling. So you always had to go through these roundabout ways to get the die you wanted. And there's also an element of randomness to it, because when you pull out a tile, you pull it out at random. So you might not get the thing that gives you the die that you want. So it's nice to have a way to get what you want to happen easier, especially in a game that depends on randomness and dice rolling.
Oh, that's a very good point, because many times we were drawing tiles, it's like, oh, it's like, this one's okay.
Yeah.
And then, like, Vanessa would draw the tiles, like, that tile's much better than the one that I got. Or she just knew how to use it better.
No. I just explore, make money, develop.
She's being humble over there.
Get those planets out there.
But she rocks at this game.
Listen, Roll for the Galaxy in any social deception deduction game, like that's a whole nother segment, Adam. The way she manipulates people in social deduction is
I am never the spy. I am never the werewolf. Ever, ever, ever. That's it. Okay, move on. Okay. We're talking about Roll for the Galaxy. We're talking about dice tonight.
This expansion, if you like Roll for the Galaxy, to me is almost a must-have, because it adds a lot to the base game. A lot, because there's the base game is solid, but adding these two additional things is it adds some more meatiness to the game. It adds some more complexity if you're looking at, like Adam, like you said, that one with the orb, the research actually could remove some randomness or mitigate some randomness.
It's a little more strategy.
Yep, and with the whole deal concept, it's like maybe you can create these deals that will help you generate points or credits, etc. And like I said, we talked about each of these, but there's actually a way that you can play both together. And you decide that when you assign that die to that phase, you decide, is it going to be a research or is it going to be a deal mechanic? So this game has not one, not two, but three basically new modes involved with it.
And I think both of y'all just said it in a nutshell. Squirrel in a nutshell.
Yeah, but this segment isn't in a nutshell, but go ahead.
No, it's not. Whereas if some people thought that the base game, like Adam said, was random and it just relies on the roll of the dice, then the expansions add the strategy that you're looking for.
And there is strategy in the base game. Don't get us wrong.
Oh, no, yeah.
Because that's how
Because
Vanessa...
Mom has perfected it.
Yes, because that's why I thought, okay, Adam, we'll add an expansion and maybe we can throw a twist in there. And she went, no, I'll just beat you all this do. Oh, yeah, okay, she did beat us. But what was cool is, what's great about this game, I think you mentioned this too, Vanessa, after we played, the score's always close.
Always close, within 3 or 4 points.
Every time we play this game, and even with the expansion, the scores were always close at the end.
Yep.
So I think that's really good that we never had this runaway leader situation. So this is Roll for the Galaxy Rivalry, which is going to be coming out soon from Rio Grande Games. Roll for the Galaxy is one of those games on my shelf that whenever I go through and start purging games, Vanessa said,
You better keep your hands off of it.
that's the one. That is the no-touch game. That's like, you could purge games. We need to make room
I
and
feel
stuff.
like everyone in our family has a no-touch game.
What's your no-touch game, just out of curiosity?
Oh man.
I'll put you on the spot.
Can I tell you Travis's instead? I know Travis's Arcadia Quest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I probably say Pandemic Legacy or Detective, but I mean, those games are you play once, so.
Except with the expansion for Detective, which is now coming out and is shipping from Portal Games, LA Crimes, which is an 80s themed detective scenario.
That's pretty sick.
Oh, now you got to cue some kind of 80s music.
I've already told Ignacy, I got a members only jacket in there that I will be wearing when we play this. But she's just rolling her eyes over here.
Can't even think of anything to say.
Hey, you got some 80s stuff in the closet that you could put on
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yes, I do. Earrings, leopard print jackets. Yes, I got it.
Again, Roll for the Galaxy Rivalry, if you're looking for it. This is the second expansion to Roll for the Galaxy. We never got a chance to play the first, but I'm glad we got to play the second. This will sit right beside Roll for the Galaxy, and probably another one of those things that will not be able to be touched. And it's been too long to have you back on the show and review a game, Vanessa. It's been a while.
I know, and I just thought of the song. It combines the no-touch rule plus the 80s. Can't touch this. Cue it.
Can't touch this. Can't touch this.
Oh gosh, now she's over here dancing. Look, I'm gonna have to get out of here because she's gonna start dancing around the room in a second. You're not gonna be able to hear a thing. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming on, and let's go play some Roll.
Woohoo!
Mind too round and too hype, it feels good when you know you're down. A super dope homeboy from the Oak Town, and I'm known.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
Every once in a while, there is a game just based on box art alone gets me very interested. And that's why I was excited when Brotherwise Games sent us a press release for a game that's coming out called Call to Adventure. This is the same company that made the game Boss Monster, which you may have heard about. But Tony, when I first saw the art on this game, I thought, okay, I'm interested in this. And I looked into it and it's like, oh, it's kind of like Role Player, where you're building an RPG character, but it's not using dice. It's actually using runes. And over the course of the game, you're creating a character, creating a story with the whole goal of what, Tony?
Getting the most victory points. That's it. You're supposed to win by getting the most victory points. But Marty, I think one of the neatest things about this concept of game, you mentioned the runes. You're building your character up along those runes by developing the various traits in a role player, the charisma, the wisdom, and those associate to the runes. In order to build your character, there are 3 stages. And in those stages, the first one is, what type are you? I was a warrior, Marty. What were you?
I was a bard. So I had already started out with good charisma, and you probably started out with some basic strength, right?
I did. And it was very interesting that, so when on the age 1 cards were out there, we were trying to cast runes or cast our lot to be able to either capture a trait. We didn't have to do that. You just picked up a trait. Not as beneficial, but then there were challenges or quests that you would have to go on to. And in order to achieve those quests, you would cast the runes. And if you were successful, it would change how you were developing your character. I went more towards the wisdom. Oh no, I was more of the charisma. So that's kind of how you impact it. And keep in mind, there were only 3 runes of each of the traits. So you had to say, I really don't need it this time. But all of that comes together to help build your character. For me, Marty, that was probably one of the most enjoyable things of this game, was just how those two interacted.
And what you do is you get those cards, you put them underneath, like you said, and the more cards you get, they gave you access to more runes, because as you get to the Act 2 and Act 3 cards, the challenges become more difficult. But now you've been building a pool of runes over the game. It's like, okay, sweet, I can roll 3 strength runes this time. Runes are just basically 2-sided devices or little plastic tokens. One side gives you a +1, one side gives you you +2, and then you try to achieve that. And once you get 3 cards under like your first stage, your character is what? My character is a bard. The next one is like, what kind of bard is this? And you select these cards at the beginning of the game, kind of develop your character. But the last one is the destiny card. In-game scoring, which is a secret. Nobody knows what your destiny is. Nobody knows what your goal is. But over the course of the game, you can also get these cards called hero and anti-hero cards that you can use during your turn. Maybe they're an instant to help you out. Hey, give me +1 rune. Or, Tony, what I did to you was, oh yeah, Tony, why don't you re-roll over there? Because I don't think you can make that successful again.
Oh, no. That's not what you were doing to me. You were playing the card that says you're going too far to the dark side. You wanted,
Which you were trying to do.
Which I was trying to do because that was my character. I wanted to go. I was a crime lord that was taking over the Assassin's Guild. I knew that my end game was that I could not count the good side. I had to be evil and corrupt. And you kept pushing me up the good side. Come on, be a better player. No. You did that to Nate, and then I, in turn, played that card on Mark, where he had to re-roll. And guess what? He failed, kind of like you were doing all night.
Oh, I couldn't roll with crap. But yeah, talking about that whole track, this is the corruption track. If you get too far down the corruption track, you can't use the hero cards. If you're too good, if you're too much of a goody two-shoes, you can't use the anti-hero cards. But if you're kind of in the middle of the track, you can use either. But those, depending on where your corruption token is, gives you points at the end of the game. Because once you get 3 cards under your first card, and your second card, and your third card, that triggers the end of the game, and everybody gets one more time around. At that point, you're going to add up all the XP that you've gotten. You're going to add up any victory points that you get from that final destiny card, and the person with the most points wins. But Tony, over the course of the game, we developed a story, and Nate said at the very end of the game, everybody go around and tell us about your character and the story that you created. And actually, that was kind of cool.
That was fun, even though I thought it was going to be painful for me. I was like, oh my gosh, really? You going to... But I gave you some flavor text, heaven forbid. Now, Marty, you put this on the table and you put role player on the table, I am going to reach to Call to Adventure. I enjoyed it. It was fast. It was quick. I'd like to see how more of the cards interact. A lot of fun. I'd also be interested in, we pulled out the ally cards, so it'll be interesting to see how those come into play. All in all, for me, Marty, if you get an opportunity to play this, highly recommend it. See, I can use it too.
Hats off to the artist, Matt Paquette. The card art is beautiful. Now, I believe some different artists contributed to this. It looks like it was like Magic type cards where there's different artists to different cards. I'm telling you right now, the card art in this is absolutely stunning. Right now, if I was to pick a game with the best art, it would be this one. This is Call to Adventure, Brotherwise Games. If you're looking for a game somewhat like Role Player, but you aren't casting dice but runes instead, please check this out, because I too, Tony, will reach for this over Role Player. That's Call to Adventure.
5-minute initiative is complete.
Hey, Marty, I hear you're going somewhere.
Yeah, so Tony, this might be my last episode.
Okay, it works for me. I think as long as I can find someone who can edit, I'm golden. What's the password to the sites again?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, good.
Every year, Rob from Blue Peg Pink Peg has this thing where he gets friends together called RobbCon. They go to a little cabin in the woods.
Isn't that what happened in Deliverance?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Now, luckily, this is in Virginia and not the mountains of Georgia. Isn't that where Deliverance took place?
Or Tennessee or wherever. But Virginia, still, it's all the Appalachia.
That's true. So he has a lot of friends come out and go to, and they rent a cabin and they hang around and play games all weekend. So this is like one of those things where only like 15, 16 people can come. Well, it just so happened that some of the people that typically could make it could not. So he asked others and they couldn't make it. And then he asked some others and they couldn't make it. And then he asked me, Marty, do you have any of your friends that might be interested in this? And I told him. And so we asked them and they couldn't make it. So finally he said, Marty, would you be interested in coming? I went, yeah, sure. I'll come check it out. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me at the top of the list, buddy. So I'm going to be going out there for like 3 days into a cabin in the middle of the woods in the mountains, but I have no idea what to expect. I mean, I don't know. These people may be killers. I don't know.
Oh, I doubt it. You'll be fine.
You've seen Rob? He's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know he is. But so as Rob Davio said in our last episode, number 160, what number was that? 66? Yeah.
6.
160. There's a lot to unpack here. So first off, I like how you said how Rob told you to ask some of your friends. I guess your email went to my junk mail.
Well, he said, any of your friends beside Tony?
Oh, I see how this is working out. So the guy who he plays Ascension with online, he's good enough for that, but not, okay, I see how this is playing out. Okay, I like this. Okay, I understand. And this is up in the, okay, well, good luck with this, man. I ain't coming looking for you.
And I am just kidding everybody. Rob, that whole story, I made that up. No, some people did drop out, and because I live close by, he's talking to me. Hey, I know I've talked to you about this RobbCon before. Would you be interested in coming check it out? So I'm curious to see what this is. At least I'll get some games in. Hopefully the weather will be nice. David Waybright from Man vs. Meeple is going to be there. He plays disc golf. So we're going to try to find a disc golf course and go play it. So I don't think I'm not going to hole up the entire 3 days in the cabin. I'm going to get cabin fever, but I'll get out some.
All right. So I am going to be needing an editor and a co-host because you're going to be playing disc golf in the mountains. You're going to throw it off a cliff and you're not going to pay attention. You're just going to step right off. I can see this now.
Yeah. There's multiple ways this can go bad.
I can see where this is going to go bad. Man, well, I got nothing fun planned. I was hoping to get everybody over for some Lord of the Rings, but everybody's gone. I just got to figure things out. That's okay, fine.
It is going to happen. But Tony, in the meantime, just today, you and I signed up to do something on BGG that we've never done before, and I'm kind of excited about. We're going to play an RPG by forum.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
So what this is there's going to be a GM that's going to run an online game in the BGG forums. Each of us are supposed to create a character. He's going to create a narrative, and then each day we go and post what we want our character to do. We'll use the role mechanics that's part of a forum post. If anybody's ever seen there's a button that says roll, it's for actually setting up and rolling dice so you can get results for your test and ability checks and everything. So Tony and I are going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons, the 5th edition, which is cool because that's what Adventures in Middle-earth is based on. So we'll get some experience in that system so that maybe when we actually sit down and play Adventures in Middle-earth, we'll be ready to go. But Tony, this is supposed to take place over 2 to 4 months. I think this could be fun.
Why else would we do it? It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. We've got to be a good or neutral character. So if I'm sure we'll have our characters created by the time this is aired. So unfortunately, I could say suggest some things for us, but unfortunately, the timing's just not because we had to get this done now. So I'm really looking forward to it, and it will also help prepare me for when we do eventually get to play our Lord of the Rings.
And it's going to happen. And who knows, we may have some surprises for some of our listeners later on. Just stay tuned to future episodes. We're trying to work out something, Tony.
As we always are.
Logistically, if we can get something to work out, I think it's something that we might be able to do with some of our listeners, and we'll talk about that down the road.
Now, Marty, I don't know, but Twitter has been going crazy. We've already mentioned Silverlight, and along those lines, just various.
How about Silver River? But go ahead.
That's 2. Silver River. Golly, Silverlight. What? See. Why something Silverlight? And I forget what it is.
Silverlight was a Microsoft plugin for a website.
That's it, because it always needed updating.
Yeah, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, our buddy from Thing 12 Games contacted me, and I do sometimes, just out of the blue, I'll plug some stuff. He contacted me and said, "Hey, would you mind mentioning Dinos Not Assembled? It's going on Kickstarter." Now, he's been a great supporter of the show. He sent us stuff, and I said, "Sure, man," because he sent me the artwork. You were talking about the artwork to Call to Adventures. This is going to be a kid's game. It's going out on Kickstarter. It's out there right now. Please go read. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go read about it. I just wanted to give him a quick mention because of just how much support he has given to our show. But the artwork, it's cool. I'll give it that. It's very kid friendly, whimsical. I love the little dinos. They're so cute and cuddly. So it's the way I envision Jurassic World, not the big dinosaurs that come and eat you.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So Kickstarter win now?
Now it is happening right now, and I wish him all the best luck from the Rolling Dice Taking Name fans. I mean, it's about. I think I better not say. We'll just go out there and read the Kickstarter. There'll be a link in the show notes. See, even I can assign myself a show.
Hey, I was just actually over here at BGG looking at the hotness because you mentioned Silver River. And still, as of right now, it's number 2. Get this, Call to Adventures number 4.
Wow.
So the game we just talked about is hot on the list. But Tony, I can't believe I forgot this. The biggest game announced at GAMA last week, as of this recording, is now sitting at number 1 on the hotness list, is the remake of the hot game Dune.
See, yes, I was seeing all that. And I'm like, Dune. I just remember that as a bad movie.
It was a bad movie, an incredible book, which I haven't read, but now I want to. This game came out like 1979. One time, Fantasy Flight wanted to make a Dune, redo it, and they couldn't get the rights. So that's how Fantasy Flight came out with the game Rex. So Rex is like Dune, but with a different theme. Well, Gale Force 9 has now got that license back. And from what I understand, some of the original designers from Dune are going to be working on this. It could be, if it comes out this year, could be the biggest game of 2019. It's got that much of a history behind it, and it's that good.
See, here's where I'm a little off. I know Restoration Games, builds on our nostalgia and our childhood, right?
Yes.
So Dune, I guess I'm just not that into the sci-fi anymore. Really? Dune has carried that long?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's currently being made into another movie, a good movie, hopefully. So it's in production right now for a brand new Dune movie. So the timing is perfect for this board game to come out. And Tony, Justin told us that Restoration Games wanted to get the Dune license and they just couldn't get it to work. But Gale Force 9 did.
Yeah.
Right when Gale Force 9 announced it, even Justin came out on Twitter and said, "Congratulations, we wish we could have done it, but we can't wait to see what you guys do with it."
Okay. That'll be interesting to see. I mean, I enjoy the Gale Force 9 games. I mean, Star Trek Ascendancy. Another one that we need to get to the table, you and I anyway, but that one's kind of tough because of the 3-player requirement and long. Not that I don't mind long games. I mean, I'll play a long game every once in a while.
Every once in a rare moon. Wait a minute, a rare moon? I guess that'd be blue. See, I did it. It's a blue moon.
Sure. I don't care. You can mix your metaphors all you want. What I need to go do is go turn on my switch. You're not going to go taking names? You're not going
Well, I thought you were going to go turn on my switch, then roll some dice, and then I was going to say it. So I thought there was more to it. So do we need to fix that part, or you just want to go with it?
Let's just go with it. Let's end the show with that.
Hey y'all, thanks for listening, and thank you for nominating us for the Board Game Geek Golden Geek Best Podcast Award. We would love your votes. There's only a few days left to vote, so go over to Board Game Geek and please vote for us. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at Dyson Names, Instagram Dyson Names, and join our BGG Guild 1589. Seriously, Tony, like every hour, I'm going to send you a message from RobbCon, and if there an hour goes by and you don't hear anything, call the police.
Or do I just update the posting for I need a new editor?
I'll miss you. Oh, Tony, just today, as if this recording, Ignacy released the street dates for 3 upcoming games from Portal Games. The first one is the expansion to Detective, LA Detective, coming out on March 28th. Followed up, now Tony, this is the one you're going to be wanting. Mystery Tales expansion for Robinson Crusoe on April 25th. No excitement? Nothing over there?
Oh, well, see, you teased me. I almost tweeted back to Ignacy today and I said, there's one missing on this list.
Well, and the third one is an expansion to 51st State, which I'm excited about, to Allies, which is May 23rd.
And where is Stronghold Undead? Where is
that's
it?
That's a Kickstarter. So these are street dates for games that's going to be coming out that's not on Kickstarter. So this has nothing to do with the Kickstarter. So let's give them a break.
No, I don't. All he had to do was put in a quarter. Prove to me that you actually have committed to 2019. Show me where you are going to commit Stronghold Undead to 2019. I mean, I now have 3 items for 2019 I can hold him to, but not Stronghold Undead. I can't hold him to that. I guarantee you 2020. I'm going to be giving out another squirrely. I know I am.
Well, look, if you want to find out more about those games that are going to be coming out, and hopefully maybe other games like Stronghold and Dead, and the new game he's working on for Gen Con, Empires of the North, you can go check out, what's the new website, Tony?
PortalGamesUS.com. You thought I was going to blow that, didn't you?
I did, because I couldn't remember myself.